Can you guys lost the meeting or?
Yes, it kicked me off and I had to
Yes,
rejoin.
same thing to me too. Kind of
Yeah, somebody kicked everyone
reboot.
off.
No, to reboot it looks like something.
Oh,
Maybe
okay.
Zoom got a reset or something.
That's okay. We are back now, I think. John is not back yet, I think.
Okay.
What happened?
So maybe their server got reset or something like that. Right? Otherwise, all of us should not be kind of rebooted again, right?
I got this message saying somebody opened a new meeting with this account.
Oh, really? I got a message that the host ended the meeting.
Oh.
No. Because
How
we
come
didn't
we
kick.
got different messages?
John, are you back?
I hope Zoom is not hosted on Intel processors. Just a joke.
Sorry, guys. Yeah. That's something got kind of kicked out, everybody out.
Okay.
So John,
So did you guys get my comment about work streams?
No,
Just do with
not
what you
fully.
want. Okay.
Okay.
So the governance document doesn't talk about work streams, right? So you can put work streams anywhere you want. So if you want to create a CSM work stream, which reports to hardware management project, and underneath it, create 3 separate work streams to do your work, go ahead. It's just that you will not get a mail list for each one of these work streams. So it'll be one CSM work stream, and you guys can figure out how to deal with it underneath it.
Okay. So my question is, what is the feedback from this group? Do you want to go back and have a discussion? Before that, I want to get some alignment here. Go ahead,
my position is that if a work stream, a CSM work stream, is flexible enough, and we don't have any other organizational hurdles by having a single work stream under which the individual topics will be mapped, I think this is preferable than having the individual work streams directly attached under hardware fault management. Unless you give me any other good reason.
No, not under hardware fault management, hardware management.
Yeah. Hardware
Under that,
management, sorry.
right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I agree with Panos. I mean, I think it makes more sense to kind of have it collected together because there is a reason why these individual things will come together, right? I mean, they're not like ad hoc.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what I agree with both as well.
I think another one is that after we move to hardware management project, our group will be open to everybody. Anybody could join us, or we're gonna stay.
Even now it's already open, Sangochi. From last week, we started hosting through the OCP mailing list and calendars.
I see.
And you saw like last week, few people joined, and it looks like they were from a different area. And now they didn't join yesterday.
Okay. I agree with the other 3 guys.
Okay. Okay, then let me go back and say that we are ready for transition and present as one transition, one work stream rather than multiple. Okay, thank you. I will sync up with hardware management. Sorry, I should not be saying fault management, and get back to this team on the logistics and how do we go from there, because finally they need to finalize the things. So second topic is Nirav, you want to go first, or Anil, you want to go first?
Whichever is fine.
I'm okay. Nirav, you finish it. Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Let us probably divvy up the time. We are already 9:20. Let's give you 15 minutes and another 15 minutes for Anil, and probably another 5 minutes for Panos.
Okay. Yeah. Let me just make sure I have a stopwatch there. Okay. So what I did is this is what I did. I started working on the paper based on the presentation that we discussed last week. There are some typos here I need to fix, but basically I took the summary that we had created for the presentation and just expanded a little bit on it and created an executive summary. It's the same language that we have been using. Basically, what we're saying here is the global cloud computing market has seen astonishing growth over the last 2 decades, and we predict that that same trajectory will continue over this decade. This, along with positive economy of scale, has led to large data centers. So this is kind of setting the stage. Thanks to the effort.
I think probably, Nirav, I would suggest instead of going through every single details, let us do an offline review of that.
Okay. So then in that case, I will just go through the table of contents.
Real, right.
Yeah. So then in that case, okay. So I have introduction where I set up like the basic, like with stats and everything, the growth in the industry. Then I talk about the phase life cycle. And in this case, I have used some of the words that we kind of agreed last time. One thing I changed was instead of logistics, I called it acquisition. If that makes more sense. And these words are important, and I have been struggling with them. So if you guys have any feedback on the words, like the phases, please send it my way. So the 4 stages I'm calling out are acquisition, onboarding, production. Production is the one we liked last time, and then end of life. I've struggled with end of life and decommission, so let me know if any of them you prefer. And then after that, I think I jump. So these are the phases. I describe them, and I'm planning on describing them in a little bit detail. And then we jump into, then the last factor is the factors that we discussed last time. Some of these factors, I will just list them. And then kind of how these factors correlate to the current OCP standards and where, and I think the factors kind of translate directly to these set of areas, so to speak, for standardization. And then I call out some of these that already exist from the presentation and some of these that don't, and where I think where effort is needed from the whole OCP community to kind of bridge the gap. So some of I didn't have a way of highlighting which ones existed and which one didn't. I went back and forth between just listing the ones that, whether to list all of them for completeness sake and then call out which ones do not have standardization already ongoing, or versus just calling out the ones that are. So maybe what I will do is I will just put one section for all of the standards that already exist and call it existing standards kind of a section, and then have a 2-point something for gaps, and then call out the ones and then have subsection for the gaps. I think that's the layout I'm thinking.
So before that, do you have this posted?
Yeah, it's in the same folder. Do you see my screen on the
Global Summit? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay. Thank you.
I think I'm sharing my browser, so I think okay. Just let me know if you didn't see that, but it's in the same folder, yeah. And then so that's one thing I need to decide. If you have feedback, let me know. And then I think we'll talk about the case study that we talked about yesterday and the device model there, and kind of call out the importance of. So in that we will break it into 3 parts. One is the device model, then there will be system model, and then there's a hyperscale model. So these are the example data models that we'll present here. And then we'll jump into conclusion. Conclusion is, hey, given this standardization process and the gaps here, and given the use case with the case study that we talked about last time, we need some concrete effort to bring all of these things together in a way that we have a kind of a bottoms up or a tops down kind of a layout of these data models that helps hyperscalers kind of with the management of the entire data center as a whole. So that's the conclusion that we want to draw. The license and everything I kept the same from what we used last time for the in-band white paper, but I'm guessing this will change. So let me know when we have the latest copy, and I will update that. But that's pretty much it as far as like the paper goes. I need to start filling out these up. What I'm doing now is I'm not creating a local copy. I'm just working directly in here. So at any given point, this will be the latest copy. So if you guys want to jump in, please do and help me out a little bit. Yeah, I'm hoping, I think I'm on track to have both the presentation and the white paper, at least a draft version, ready by end of next week. So that's my goal. And I know, John, you were saying we want to kind of review it. We should be able to review it offline, and if there are questions, I can kind of talk to you guys offline and kind of get that ready. So Wednesday is my target to kind of stop pens down. Next week Wednesday is my target for like not touch it anymore. So at that point, we can review what I have right now, and then if we want to look at the final version, then, or the final draft, then Wednesday would be the time. I don't know if it's enough, but that's what my goal is.
So before that,
So-
God, John, you want to say something?
Oh, so currently you just have an outline and you're going to add text in the next week or so?
In the next few days, yes.
And you want to review it and then contribute it?
I don't know what the deadlines are, so I think
You have two more meetings of the IC if you want to contribute and get it approved. And I think this is really rushing it to get it to them in any shape.
I think there's two goals, John. One is if it is ready, we can go to the IC for approval. But even if it is not ready, we need to get the presentations. It's kind of helping that content for presentation, right? I think what right.
I'm not concerned about the presentation.
Right.
I'm concerned about getting to the IC and having the IC say, reviewing this and say, yes, this is good enough to publish and put the OCP mark on it, right? If it seems to me we're rushing it in order to get to that, and I don't see a reason for it. So I fully believe that we should do this document just to organize your thoughts and get a presentation together. That's fine.
Let us get the content ready, then we come back on that things right away. How much it's ready for we will feel can come comfortable, because without seeing content we cannot.
That's fair. That's fair.
Right. Maybe Nirav's goal is want to get it done, but we have our own doubts. But let's get the content done, right?
Yeah. I will. I'm pushing as hard as I can and trying to get it as soon as possible. And watch out for an email from me in the middle of next week for like pens down kind of draft ready kind of an email.
Yeah. Before that, I think can we also get is this section seems right, or
yeah,
I believe the life cycle has a lot more to that, right? Maybe others can chime in and help.
Yeah, that's where I need some help, right? So is there more that we need to add from looking at this content? Let me know if I'm missing things or should add more or I should remove things.
To me, getting into production, basically, like what are the things need to be done underneath, right? Maybe a lot of subsection need to be there, right?
Yeah. So what I think the problem there I ended up with is what we discussed last time, right? So I had like in the presentation, I had like, okay, these are the phases, and under these are the kind of the factors specific to that phase. But I think the feedback I got last time was, hey, some of these things we may do it earlier or later. So depending on who we are talking to, they may not these factors may not exactly align to that phase. So what I did is I'm not aligning any of these these stages to the phases. I'm just saying these are all the phases and these are all the kind of the stages around it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think what I mean by that, Nirav, is when getting into production, there is a lot of subbullets underneath going to be there, right?
Oh, you mean here?
Right. So that is unless we can put we see the little more details there, right? It's we cannot really we agree on the high level there, right? So what that means? I think it's a lot more details need to be there, right?
Yes. So I think what I
Get-
had in my presentation.
Yeah, that is under onboarding. What I mean to say is, before going to production, what other things need to happen?
Right. So I
Right.
think what I had is configuration, conformance, validation, system resourcing. So these are the things I had. Let me copy those in there. Yeah, I
There
think
may be a
here
lot of planning and other things gets involved there, right?
Yeah. So right. So what did I do? Yeah. So system sourcing, configuration, acquisition will. I think I went back and forth between planning and acquisition, but acquisition is where I was hoping to kind of connect the planning dots, and then system sourcing, configuration, conformance certification, and validation. These are the 4 stages of onboarding is what I had. And then for production, the 4 stages I had was actually orchestration and ramp is also part of onboarding. So here, let me put that in there. So those are the 4 stages, and then for the ones that we reviewed last time, and then in production we had the utilization, fault detection, repair, servicing, inventory management. So those are the 4 I had for production. Again, the problem with this is if I put this in this bucket like that, somebody might say, hey, system sourcing is part of acquisition for me. So we get lost in the nuances. And that's not the intent, right? The intent is not to bucket things. The intent is to find gaps. So that's where I was struggling. And I didn't want to lose. I mean, for the paper, maybe I can put it like that and say, and put a title in front of these. Some of these factors are malleable and flexible. So they may not exactly align to each use case at each stage, each phase. But I just, as an example, life cycle, this is what I'm presenting. The focus is finding gaps, right? The focus is to present the gaps and kind of call those out. Yeah, I can do that. I will put the sub bullets like this. I was going to put these in the factors, separate factors, but I can put it in the sub bullets and remove this out.
Yeah, I think each one might take time to go through in detail, right? For example, even onboarding, right? Security subsystem, right? The things in transit and all those things need to be addressed.
Correct,
right?
correct. So configuration is security, storage, server, power is configuration. So that's all.
Right. So there is, yeah.
So all these are configurations, right?
Right.
And conformance and certification is once we have configured things, we want to make sure that they comply to a particular certification process. And validation is functional in the sense that we want to make sure that they are functioning the way we want it, and then we orchestrate and ramp. So that's kind of the flow. And then once we are in production, we look at utilization, we monitor utilization, carry and yeah. Thanks, Fanas, for writing that down. Yeah, I think I should call that out as functional validation. That's true. And then utilization and fault detection, repair, and servicing, and these are pretty kind of obvious what they mean. And then for end of life, I have 3 stages, which is you want to back up things, decommission things, and restart.
Yeah, I think it would be good if we can the template framework or what are the high ticket item need to go even a sub bullet level, right? Subsection level.
Yeah, let me write that just now.
Yeah, getting that clarity will be helpful because at the end of the day, if you go and expand all those things, right, you want to make sure that high level points are coming out, right?
Yeah, so these are the high level points. They are in the presentation also, and the presentation is also here.
And I'm kind of looking for others here, right? You know, like who's living day to day in the data center, like Panos and George and Anil and people in the data center side, right? Can help on this will be good, right?
Yeah, this is a very high level outline, right? Depends upon how detailed we want to go.
So that's the question: is how detailed do we want to go?
come to your things where we were highlighting the problems, right? For example, the reason I was bringing the security, the in transit things need to be addressed. So do we have all those things related to that available or not, right? It's in other words, do we have a OCPA side addressing all those kind of concerns? If it is already done, then we don't need to spend time. We can point to the work streams and other things that they already addressed it, right?
Yeah, so some of these, there are work streams that exist
Right,
already, and
right.
some of these have gaps. So I think that's where we'll have to call out like which of them are gaps and which of them are not.
Right.
But yeah, I believe this is the first attempt to go like top down and
Okay.
look at the, yeah. So it'll be interesting to kind of get feedback from everyone here. So if you want me to kind of divide and conquer, then I would really appreciate it. What I can do is I can come up with like, if you guys prefer something, that I prefer onboarding. So if for example somebody has preference for onboarding, just go ahead and let me know.
So
I can,
maybe I would suggest you fill the data that you know, Nirav. Then since you set already a live link, give a note when you feel like ready for a quick review sync up. Let us do some offline review and give you some feedback before we meet, right?
yeah.
Any other comments from this team?
It would be nice to put maybe a flow chart or block diagram. Visual is always, useful.
I think, Anil, you missed it. Yeah. So last time, let me see if I can present it. I do have that. Yeah, let me stop sharing and share again, because I'm not sharing the right thing.
I think, Nirav, I would suggest instead of going through that, you already have the document there, right?
Yeah. So this is the
and team can,
this is the kind of the overall slide, and this is the kind of the block diagram. But yeah, it's also there in the it's also there in that same
folder, yeah. 2023 folder, yeah.
So that's all I have. I will go, but let me know by Monday if you guys have interest in something, and otherwise I'll have to kind of ping you guys and ask you for help. So I'll try to. That's what I'll do, Sammy. Is I'll put dump everything I have into it by Monday, and then we can go from there.
Yeah, dump your brain, and then we will take it from there, right?
Perfect. I'll do that. Thank you so much. Thank you for the time.
Okay, thank you, Nirav. And Anil, you want to share your?
Yeah. Can you see what I'm sharing?
Yes.
So George and I met a few times, and this is so I want to kind of just walk through the outline of what we are thinking in this presentation, and maybe offline you can add your comments, suggestions in this presentation. This is already uploaded to the Google Drive. So topic is demystifying in-band, out-of-band methods for hyperscale fleet management. And the kind of outline here is we want to first define the hardware management scope, clarify that, what we are discussing here, what we are not discussing, and then kind of zoom into how we see in-band versus out-of-band. And then what we're thinking is like, so this is 30 minutes presentation, first 10 to 12 minutes of a handful of slides. And then between George and I, we ourselves will have 2 questions we'll ask each other. So like I will ask question, how do you guys handle in Google infrastructure? And George will ask, how do we handle in Meta infrastructure? And then remaining 10 minutes will open up for the Q&A from the audience. So that's the overall outline of what we are thinking here. And then overall the scope of hardware management you're kind of putting into this two buckets, right? Overall hardware management, within that, system monitoring configuration, and then hardware fault management. And then visually, how we see in-band versus out-of-band management methods mapping in here. First, to clarify, okay, this is the overall view of how the cloud CSPs manage the fleet. So there's multiple systems, and then in the aggregated at the fleet level, how we take the information and manage it through the rest of the fleet management the design architecture, you can call that. So in-band is one way to get the information and pass the information back to the host as well. And then out-of-band is to the PMC. And any kind of remediation actions that are being decided based on the policies is fed back to the system. And I put it intentionally here because it could be either through BMC or through the in-band. So it, again, the feedback path could also go in-band, out-of-band. And it gets a little bit dicey because even to access the BMC, we have to go through the NIC. So that kind of becomes in-band. So there's no purely out-of-band method, out-of-band communication to a host in a hyperscale environment. And then the key thing here is the in-band and BMC or out-of-band are complementary, means in a typical system, both are there. And depending upon the type of cloud services infrastructure provides, the partitioning of the work depends on that. So this is for the system monitoring configuration. And then for fault management, I've kind of zooming into the whole system and providing clarity in terms of when we say in-band fault management, what we are referring is a host-based. So from the hardware and to the vendor-specific firmware, the error information flows in-band to the kernel, to the OS, and then from there to the tooling. And for out-of-band, the information and the control flows through the BMC firmware. Now, it gets now more complex because there is no one way to implement, depending upon the fault types. It could be either in-band, out-of-band, so always kind of combination. And therefore, there's an interface required between two. And then from BMC also, there could be direct path to the infra or through the kernel to the OS and do DC tooling and then to the infra. So net is what we do here is in a hyperscale environment is a hybrid approach that provides us more flexibility in terms of how we can manage the hardware faults. So there's no one type of method deployed in-band versus out-of-band. We always look for the best optimal solution, which includes both methods. And then I was planning to talk about an example illustration. So this was all abstract form, right? And in this example, I'm planning to kind of talk through a machine, a system, where there are accelerators and switches and CPU, and when a fault happens, how the fault events flows, and how we are deploying or implementing in-band as well as out-of-band methods to manage this fault. And then open up a Q&A.
So what is OIM means?
OCP Accelerator Module.
Okay. I see it. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, this is actually an example of a cluster, AI/ML cluster machine, where a bunch of these accelerators are there, interconnected to the PCI switch to the CPU host. And it's pretty complex machines, a lot of very deep PCI hierarchy of the devices. I'm just simplifying this here. So when a fault happens, it gets tricky to figure out where the fault started from, right? And what is the flow that need to be called out for service. It's not, it gets very complex here.
So is there any OCP contribution or anything on AMI related? Is there anything ready to say here, or you're going to leave it out?
OCP contributed. So one is the hardware fault management requirements document that we're putting together, right? That defines the BMC interface over here. What I'm not showing here actually is from BMC, and maybe I can clarify that. From BMC here, there is a infra interface that accessing the data from the BMC. So that
there should be a connection from BMC directly to the PCI device, right? Is that what you're saying?
There are some things like that, but in general, I want to say I think it's very convincing. And Sami, I think this is the first stab at need for in-band, and what Anil and George are doing here is highlighting why we need it. And so in terms of contributions, yes, there is some out-of-band work that's been done, and that's a contribution. But then they're highlighting we need to do the work, and we have been saying this in hardware fault management for a while, that yes, we do need to work on in-band also. So that's our next step. So we need to work together, and I'm going to highlight this presentation in my OCP hardware fault management requirements presentation that we are working, Anil and George are working and presenting today. So that's kind of where we are in terms of in-band, right? There's no contribution yet, but there's need to work on it.
Yeah, that's a good point, right? So in-band is a very traditional way of implementing legacy. There are some standards already exist, and some we have built on our own, and Josh can speak quite a bit on.
Yeah, but we are not, as OCP, we are not making that a requirement that yes, we need those, right? What we're highlighting is we've been focused totally on out of band. What we need to do is also highlight that hey, there's this in band this required for the reasons that you're outlining here, right?
Yeah. Basically, if I make that more clear, so what we are working on is this interface.
Yep.
Okay.
And Anil, I noticed that you don't have a path on this driver from OS drivers to DC tooling. What's the path there?
Oh, I didn't draw all those arrows because that gets too complicated.
Okay.
I mean, once there is a layer about that, right? This is all software stuff, right? So there's all kinds of interfaces. There's so many interfaces here.
Understood. On your fourth slide, Anil, when you're drawing those two bubbles, kind of how slide number 4, 2 slides before this.
Yeah.
So system monitoring and configuration. So you're considering telemetry also in the first bubble?
Kind of. If the telemetry is only in the context of non-fault events, like temperature and voltage and things like that, firmware versions and all, that bit falls into there. If any monitoring related to fault.
Okay. Yeah, understood. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, in any kind of fault related monitoring is part of here, because monitoring of the fault alone is not sufficient. There's some action. Typically, some action behind that.
Exactly. And those two bubbles are not isolated. So what you might actually want to do is like there is a reconfiguration in the event of fault also. You might want to create a kind of a overlapping Venn diagram kind of figure where you have a middle space, which, kind of crosses over into fault management and also configuration, right?
Something like that, and then call
something like that. Yeah.
I agree. I think thanks, Anil. That's a very good feedback. There is an overlap, right? The telemetry, some part of the telemetry is fault related and it changes.
Yeah. Something like that. And then call this configuration.
That's right. Yeah.
I wouldn't make a third but I'll just make two. I mean, PowerPoint has standard system art kind of things where you can make overlapping bubbles, and in the
Oh, I
middle
see
you
what you're
can
saying.
say reconfiguration in event of fault, right? That's your
Okay, okay.
configuration, and then there could be correlation of fault with the system telemetry, which gives you additional insights, right?
So I was trying away in overlapping, because then it gets even difficult to explain. I want to kind of call out distinctly, because that kind of then build the story.
If it was easy, Anil, you wouldn't be doing it, right?
So let George and I, good feedback. We'll work on it and articulate that differentiation. Good point.
Yeah, good point. Thanks.
George, you want to? Sorry, I did. So from a overall flow point of view, we haven't kind of worked out the details. Maybe George will start the discussion and then finish slide 5 and then hand over to me.
Yes.
And then slide 8 is where we'll open up. This is one example, one way to structure this whole presentation. We can change it also. George and I will work it out.
And also, Anil, add a next step or something to call out clearly, maybe another slide. Before slide 8, right?
So slide 8 is kind of just open up for Q&A between the two part of Q&A. One is between us, two of us, and then to the audience. Actually, sorry, between two of us. And then
what I was thinking, we want to define this is a goal that we are trying to propose, right? Then you open up for Q&A, right?
Yeah. So this Q&A actually is between just two of us.
Okay. Oh, okay. You're okay. Got it. Okay.
we may call not Q&A, something discussion, and then call to action, and then open up a Q&A to the audience.
Okay, before call to action, if we are concluding this work need to be done for agent or inbound management, can we call that out clearly? That is work we are.
Yeah, that's a good
trying
point.
to do that, right?
Yeah.
And call to action is asking them people to join other things, right?
Yeah. So we say defining hardware management methods at scale, and maybe we'll call for in-band fault management requirements discussion.
Yeah, I think. I think what I'm. So call to action is to join or whatever the things, right? The plan is to kind of, create the IMA project or something around that, right? Project or like work item under the CSM. In the call to action, you are saying join that or engage with that, right?
Yeah, that's
I was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking have another slide saying that this need to be done, right? Something like that.
Sorry, I'm not following you. Say one more time, please.
So in summary, like at the end of the day, what is the summary you want to do after 8 before going to call to action?
There is no summary that we were...
Or recommendation or something like that.
That we were just thinking to just have a part of the call to action. If you suggest any summary here, tell me what are you thinking, and we can add it. We are trying to minimize the slides and keep it more for,
So maybe in the Q&A itself, you can probably say summary there, right?
Yeah, we can make out a summary.
Right.
Yeah.
Summary is that we want to define the IMA standard-based IMA interface or whatever ecosystem or however you want to call it, right?
Mm-hmm.
To create that problems you highlighted,
mm-hmm.
the approach you're proposing to solve.
Mm-hmm.
And that is not completed, that call to action is join them so that we can complete the work, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, good point. I'm just capturing right now, and then in the next.
Think through it, right? How you want to kind of put
Yeah,
a
yeah.
summary, right? Yeah.
Next one-on-one between John and I will figure it
Sure.
out. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. Cool. Any other good feedback? Thanks for clarifying.
Yeah, I think you highlighted all this. People can understand these are the things happening. It's really good that you're able to bring up the points there, right? I think a lot of people miss the point. All this connectivity exists, right? I think BMC is on providing it, right?
Yeah. So I was struggling with the slide 4, and actually I would also reach out to John for his feedback. We missed him.
Okay.
He would have a good suggestions in making this slide very crisp and clear.
Yeah, please work with him. Let's probably again review next week. I think we said the 15th is when we want to come to a kind of a stable state.
Yep.
And we'll also review offline any feedback I'll send you.
Yeah. George, you want to add something?
No, I think that's good. I think the compelling thing I think we should call out is basically like the downstream port containment and how it's needed for all new accelerator / GPU accelerator machines, right? And I think honestly, this is kind of like cutting edge of like where we are, like what we're doing.
Yeah.
And it
You
becomes
mean
increasingly important for this ML/AI workloads, because there may be a large number of PCI devices, and some of them are going to fail. You need to contain them.
Yeah, in the context of the fault management, right?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. I think the key thing we want to like a theme here is demystifying in-band out-of-band, right? So we want to kind of differentiate with this example where we are calling it in-band, what we are calling out-of-band. And I didn't do a good job here to explicitly call that. I mean, I'll work on it to clarify which part of this whole flow is in-band and which is out-of-band.
Hey,
Yeah.
so just one small feedback. I think focusing on something that is not possible out of band might be a good idea for, like, I mean, calling that out front and center. So you have that, yes, that makes sense. So I think maybe, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so one thing that I clarify here for out of band, right? It's a low fidelity errors is good enough. Good is okay. But when it comes to high fidelity errors, the out of band methods are not that straightforward.
Agreed.
And in some cases, public cloud, we don't have a choice. So we have to use out of band. And there are techniques required to filter out the event so that we don't bog down the out of band interface. We don't choke that interface. Whereas if there is a flexibility where the rest of the stack is owned by the CSP, then some of the error flows can be implemented in band, and that's where we get the benefit of both worlds. And in fact, this is one thing we want to call out in this whole thing is that in the case of Meta Fleet, because we all our software, everything is we own the whole stack. Therefore, Meta may choose different way of implementing, which is hybrid approach, versus someone like Google and Microsoft in the public cloud.
Hey, John, yeah.
You guys hear me yet?
Now
yes,
you can
we hear you now.
Oh, hi, John.
Hi, guys.
You were talking and we couldn't hear you.
Yeah. So let me share something. And just I'll just send this to Anil. See if you guys like this slide for explaining in-band versus out-of-band.
That'll be awesome. Let me stop sharing. Are you trying to share something?
Yeah.
Let me stop.
So this is, whoops. Get rid of this. Okay, so this is what I use to describe in-band versus out-of-band, because this is the definition that the MTF uses.
Perfect.
And so you guys are right. You guys are right here.
Yeah. Yeah. In my slide 6, I kind of drew similar thing, different way. But yeah, I get it. This is one way to put it. So yeah, share with me, and then we will integrate this.
Okay.
Actually, I like this 2x2 matrix that you put together. That's good.
Okay, I'll go ahead and forward.
Yeah. What I was looking for feedback, John, is on our slide number 4, where we are trying to clarify the scope, define the scope of hardware management, and then clarify the fault management versus system monitoring configuration. And if anything else goes into hardware management, we will kind of just.
Oh yeah, I mean that's an immense list.
I know.
Everything from
I
provisioning to
simplified quite a bit.
okay. So all you really want to do is list everything and then put a circle around the 3 things or 2 things you want to go focus on in hardware management.
Exactly. That you got it. So
Okay.
I'm looking for the big list, and then we can just highlight the
Yeah,
key.
I can give you that too.
So really quick, I don't want Django to wait more because he's been his hand raised. But Anil, I think one way to do that maybe to draw the full picture and highlight the areas in different colors. And then
Yeah. Yeah, that would be
Django is
good.
waiting for a while, so I'll let him speak.
Yeah. I'm just looking for that, for complete list. We just started from a small list, right? But what we thought about, but I think it's good to have comprehensive list.
Yeah, I think I just wanted to reiterate the feedback also. Actually, as based on your presentation, it looks like we are focusing on fault management only. So even though you categorized in the slide 4, but I think it is worthwhile to mention what's the coverage of IMA and use fault management as one example instead of focusing on fault management itself.
Yeah, actually, so I skimmed through this slide. Sorry, I'm blanking out here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So George can do a good job in presenting this one. He put together this slide. This is where he will talk about system monitoring configuration. Is that what you're referring to?
We lost you, Chandraji.
What I meant is that this one is overall kind of architectural workflow components. What I meant is that this one so event management would be mostly system monitoring and configuration. I think it would be more than that is, right? Because for example, we discussed the firmware update stuff as a management also, right? So what I think, if you just say this one, the audience might limit the scope of event management like a scope. So I think it is worthwhile to give a heads up to the audience what event management could cover, and go to the next slide as a kind of example.
Got you. Okay. I think I understand now. So I added this configuration. Maybe this is not clear. So maybe we should just leave it monitoring, because this really example is for monitoring. And what we don't have is for configuration, which is I kind of added like firmware upgrade, downgrade, kind of configuration activities, which is part of hardware management, which is not really shown here. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So also even slide 4, how we connect hardware management to our event management agent. So do you want to say that our event management is similar as hardware management like this? Because we are discussing event management things, right? Not hardware management. I understand it is related to hardware management. So suddenly we are talking, our title is event management. Suddenly we say that hardware management. So if you add event management or if you correlate somehow event management with hardware management, it would be much easier for audience to understand.
I see. Let me make sure I understand. What you're saying is when we are talking about hardware management in general, we underline, we think about out of band only to BMC. Whereas here we are trying to bring the in-band perspective, and
Yes.
which is not coming out very clearly. Is that what you're referring?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay. I think, yeah, that's a good feedback. What we want, and that's where maybe we want to clarify here to define the scope of this presentation, because obviously we are not going to cover everything about hardware management here, right? We want to kind of zoom in into the one or two examples, which is maybe system monitoring and hardware fault management are the two aspects, and clarify the in-band versus out-of-band.
Okay.
That way we keep the focus into just few areas, not to boil the whole ocean and create a 1 hour discussion.
Yeah, I think what you're really saying, hardware management involves in-band and out-of-band. I think that has come out a little clearly. I think maybe this slide is to kind of say hardware management involves these items, but you're not talking about in-band or out-of-band here.
Yeah. So, but
and later you're going to come say like IMA is out-of-band is not sufficient. IMA is the inside in-band is also important. I think that's what you're trying to position it here, right?
Yeah, something like so. The third bubble I'm thinking now, right? So these are the two bubbles: monitoring and hardware fault management. And third bubble is configuration, and this is where when John sent me the slide, I'll put.
Right.
I think a lot of other stuff will go in here.
Then you will. I think probably it will be good if you can connect similar things. Now it's in band or out of band or somewhere, so we to kind of point the thing, right?
Sorry.
Quick time check. I think we are already 10 minutes over. So are we okay to stay some few more minutes? Or?
I'm okay, but if you guys have to log off, then we can discuss next week or offline. Please feel free to add your comments.
Okay. I do need to drop another couple of minutes. Just a quick question before you guys can continue if you want. So Panos, is Panos still here? I dropped.
I don't see him.
Okay, so maybe he dropped. Okay, I will sync up with him offline.
Hey,
I do need
Chadi,
to drop. I have another meeting to go.
Quick question. Does it make sense to have a call next week on Wednesday? Just because of the work that we need to do.
Yeah, I think that's fine. So let me know what day, what time works for the team here. They can schedule on.
Same time, it's fine by me. Let me know. But yeah, I'm fine with anything actually.
Sorry, yes, okay at 9 o'clock Wednesday.
Next week, Wednesday, which is 13th.
13th, yes.
Yeah, 13th.
I'm okay.
Yeah, this is George. I'm okay as well.
Okay. Okay, then let me schedule it and then we can meet again. Yeah.
And George, maybe you and I can join other.
It sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, we'll join our meeting. Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
FYI, John and I have been actually discussing offline. We'll have a few more meetings to fine tune this presentation and the whole flow of how we'll go through the Q&A.
Good. Thank you. I think it's coming out well. I think some more additional work will make us much better, right? Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay. See you, team. I am going to drop off. You guys want to continue. Yeah.
Thanks. Bye.
Okay.
Thanks.
Bye, guys.
Yeah, I thought you were just using. Oh, then maybe we don't. Oh, okay. Then I don't know what it is. Yeah.